Hi, Flosstube. I know, it's been a long time. It tends to always be that way with my videos. I say I'm going to be more consistent, and sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm not. I haven't been stitching all that much, so that's part of it. But I definitely just started stitching quite a little bit ago, so I probably could have updated, but I'm here now. So today is Wednesday, November 15th, 2017. I'm going to be talking a little bit of a life update for those of you who I'm not in contact with elsewhere, and then I'll talk a little bit about stitching and plans and all of that. By the way, if you hear random chewing or scratching, I've got two dogs right down there, so you know, it's gonna happen. But I'm excited to be filming up here. I don't get to do it all that much because this is our office. Husband is this desk, which my tripod is on at the moment, and he's not here. Usually he's here either working or gaming. He's a web developer, so he's, you know, if he's working, he's also on the computer. And of course I've got Flosstube that she knows, because why not? Anyway, I like this location though, because you can see like my stitchy stuff going on in the background, and I recently reorganized and I'm really excited and very proud of that. So yeah, I'm showing it off. Usually I record downstairs. I can never tell how good the lighting is. Like, it looks okay in the viewfinder, but also not that great at the same time. And then when I edit, I'm like, okay, that looks all right. So I think it'll be fine. Anyway, life update first. So one of the reasons that I haven't been stitching is because around mid-June, actually right before Father's Day, I found out I was pregnant. Yes, I am currently pregnant. I'm 25 weeks actually today. I turn a new week every Wednesday, and it's so very exciting for us because if you watch some of my previous videos, mainly my February update, I believe, of this year 2017, I did mention that I had been pregnant. We found out in November, December. Gosh, I don't remember anymore. I think it was late November. Very early December, and unfortunately we lost that baby. I had a miscarriage at the end of January, so that was just not a good time, a bit of a sad time, but you know, we were able to move on, as we always remember Angel Baby in our hearts. But you know, it is good to know that that is something that does happen. It happens more often than a lot of women think or couples think, and that is helpful. And luckily we didn't have any issues becoming pregnant. I know that aside from miscarriages, some couples or families deal with infertility and taking a long time to conceive, and thankfully that was not the case. So 3 cycles, which ended up being about 4 months after I was okayed by my OB to begin trying again after my body healed from the miscarriage, we found out we were pregnant, and we are so excited. We're having a baby girl. Her name is Isabella Maria, or Isabella Maria, depending on how you say it. One of the reasons we chose it is because it works well in Spanish and English, seeing as I'm Hispanic. My husband is American, like completely no other real, I mean, there's many backgrounds, but like his family has been here in the US for a while, so we wanted something that worked with both sides of the family. Of course, both sets of grandparents are extremely excited for multiple reasons. One, of course, is my husband is the only son, you know, that carries the last name of the family, so this will be the first baby to have the last name. All his father's siblings are sisters, so once they got married and their children got married, you know, the kids have had different last names, even though they are still part of the family and everything. But this will be the first baby to have my husband's last name and carry it on. On the other hand, on my side, I am an only daughter, only child. My parents are going crazy as expected, so it's a lot of fun. The other reason is because Isabella is due on February 28th, which happens to be my husband's birthday and his father's birthday. So they're like, oh my gosh, she has to be born on that date. I mean, if she is born naturally, which is what we would like, that probably won't happen. But if, you know, it may. I mean, the only realistic scenario is if I end up scheduling a C-section ahead of time, we could choose for it to be that day. But I'd rather not do that unless I need to. Obviously, if it's an emergency C-section, we still have no choice over the date. I definitely don't want to be induced unless I medically have to be. So we'll see what happens, but it would be pretty cool. Either way, her birthday is going to be celebrated around the same time. There has been times in the past where like his dad and my husband will celebrate together. There's another cousin in the family who was born 10 days before my husband, so sometimes they've celebrated together. I'm sure many birthdays we're gonna want to have our own party for our precious daughter. But I can see that happening in the future, especially when she's a little bit older and we just want to get together and celebrate, and we don't want to have like 5 parties within the same date. Well, really would be 4, not 5, because cousin, my husband's dad, my husband, Isabella. But especially these first few birthdays, and while she's younger and she has her friends from school and whatever, you know, it's probably going to be a unique party, but maybe the family's parties might be like together. Who knows? Where you going, Ellie? Where you going, girl? My husband's on a bit. Oh, she's going under my legs. Is gone on a business trip until tomorrow. So they're probably thinking like, hey, it's about time for him to be home now. Like, where is he? But they've been pretty good. Anyway, so that's my life update with that. We are over the moon excited. We're so very happy, and that was part of the reason I didn't stitch. Okay, so one thing I want to share, I'm pretty sure I've shared this before, but I hadn't shown it completely FFO'd, is my Gwen by Nora Corbett. I stitched this last year, but I got it framed. I did go to my LNS and got it framed through there. I probably won't frame everything through there, but I did want to have this one piece professionally framed. I did enter it into my LNS yearly contest. It didn't win, but I don't mind. A lot of people complimented it and said it looked really good, and it just made me happy to have something finished and done. So here she is. There's my Gwen. I used all the recommended threads and beads. The fabric was a 32 count Ash Rose Lugana that I think I got it a lot off of eBay. And there's the close-up of the frame. I really like that it's got 2 colors involved. And there is Gwen. I hope I'm not doing that too fast. And there's what she looks like as a whole. So I'm very pleased with her, and I look forward to her hanging up somewhere. For now, it might go in my husband's office because he requested it. But eventually it'll probably make it back to the house. I don't mind giving it to him. In all honesty, we don't have a ton of wall space in the office. It'd probably have to go out in the house. I'm probably going to have to start finding an area for my stitching for when I start finishing stuff of where I want to hang things that aren't like decorative specific. Like just a spot for all the cross stitch that, you know, I have so many things that I like that it's going to be all jumbled, and I don't want it to like look weird somewhere in the house, like in the common areas, but there are certain pieces that will work in the common areas. So we'll see what I do, but at least it's going to go somewhere in his office, and maybe somebody there will ask about it, and either he'll find another stitcher that he can like tell me, hey, this person at work mentioned they know a stitcher or they themselves stitch, or maybe it'll interest somebody in stitching. So we'll see. So that's that one. My most recent finishes are Mill Hill Calaveras, pardon my reach. I started these in around Halloween time of last year. I'm pretty sure they came out probably summertime 2016, I don't think it was 2015. I'm pretty sure it was 2016. And I did the first 4. And then I did the last 2 recently. So I'll show you in the order I finished them, I think. I'm pretty sure. So the first one I did was Calavera Morado, which is purple. There is that guy. Here we go. I'll use the back of this. I did use everything except I used black perforated paper instead of white. I thought it stood out more. And they do have a little charm that goes in the middle of the forehead, but I didn't like it, so I just left it without. Then I went ahead and did Azul, which is blue. So there's him. Then I did, hold on, I dropped it. Alright, so then I did Rosado. I believe it was either this one or Naranja, but those were the next 2. So there's Rosado. And here is Naranja, which is orange. And my 2 most recent ones was Amarillo, yellow. And my recent one, which I finished yesterday, is Verde Green. So yeah, so those, whoa, sorry about that. Those are the Mill Hill Calavera series. There is 6 of them. And in like order of favorite, I love purple, blue, pink and orange, or these are a little bit interchangeable. Maybe orange a little more than the pink. Then verde. And then amarillo. I mean, it's nice, but like out of all of them, this is my least favorite. Doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just my least favorite out of all of them. So I have an idea for finishing them on a wooden block that I'm going to, it's a long wooden block, kind of ovaled on the sides. And I want to paint it black and maybe put them in a row. We'll see if that works out. I don't know. But I'm really excited to have them done. Obviously not in time for Halloween this year, but I don't mind. I'm glad the series is done. I do like that I spaced them out, because just working on these 2 back to back got a little bit repetitive. They're fun, but it got a little bit repetitive because of the shape. I mean, the design itself within the skulls is different, like the swirls and everything that's included. But just the, like the teeth got extremely repetitive. That's the same in all of them. And the outline is very repetitive. That's almost identical in all of them. So just like putting the beads around got a little bit tedious, but overall I was very happy with it. I did also have one other finish, which is the stocking I started 2015? I'm pretty sure I started in 2015, and it was supposed to be done for last Christmas. That did not work out. It was kind of nice though, because my aunt-in-law, who was, hold on, Ellie, can you get over here please? Come here. Thank you. I'll make sure she's not getting in anything. Okay, so thankfully the other stocking that was to be done by my aunt-in-law was also not done at the time. So when I told her, I was like, hey, I don't think I'm gonna have it done. And she was like, it's okay, I don't think I'm gonna be done either. So I was like, whew. So I definitely had to have it done for this Christmas, and I did. When she asked me about it, I was already working on it. I thought I'd have a little more time, but it's just so happened that somebody was coming down from northern Florida, and she was saying like maybe they can bring it for me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can have it done. I was already working on it, and I just like needed to work a little faster, but I got it done, so I'm really happy that's complete. Obviously that is gone, so I did record a video clip which I will insert here. Hey guys, so here is the finished stocking. This is the Santa Stuff stocking by Jan Lynn, and that's what it looks like. I did use the included 14 count Ada as well as the floss, which let me tell you, it was a nightmare, but I did not want to waste the floss. And it was fine. It worked out very well. It stitched up relatively fast. I just didn't get around to it for a long time. I actually started this last year in 2016. And I just didn't put the time into it. Thankfully, my aunt wasn't upset. So yeah, I definitely needed it done for this year. I pretty much followed the pattern. I made a couple changes. So this white, by the time I got to this, I was kind of done. So I did a half stitch instead of a full stitch, and it worked out really nice. I also, the 24 was green, the 25 was red, and I just thought that looked weird, so I left them black. And obviously, since I used a half stitch, I used actually 6 strands of floss. So I actually did the loop method with 3 strands, and did my half stitch, ended up being with 6. That's the only floss from here, actually, that's not from Janlin, because I was worried it wouldn't be enough, and I think I was right, because I used almost a full skein of floss. It's not quite a white, it's 3865. It's like a whitish leaning towards a beige color, but it still looks white. Because of that, I used 3 strands to backstitch the numbers instead of 2. And I think it worked out really nicely. The other change I made was to the coat. There were supposed to be some mittens hanging off of here, and honestly, I did not like how they looked. I had the idea of a coat in my head, so I kind of like made this up in my mind to make it match. The only thing I'm iffy about is the dark red. Now that I look at it, maybe that was just should have been just red, because of the way the shadows work on the coat, but it looks fine. Other than that, it is exactly as charted. There is a piece of Ada there, you know, when it unravels. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. This actually surprised me. It was very blocky when I looked at it, and I was like, I mean, honestly, one of the reasons I picked it was because it looked like it was for a boy. Excuse me. For a boy, out of the ones that my aunt offered. As I've mentioned before, my aunt makes stockings for everybody in my husband's family, which obviously my family now as well. And, you know, she's been doing it forever, and when I started stitching, what, like 3.5 years, 4 years, however long it's been now, she asked if I would help, and I said sure. I've never really regretted it. I mean, I enjoy the stitching, but sometimes I am kind of bummed that I don't have the time to work on my own stuff. But it's still fun. It's still a stitch I enjoy. I've done 2 so far. I've enjoyed both of them. I have 2 stockings on the go that are kind of surprises. One is for somebody who has a stocking, but it's the really old kind with the felt applique. It's falling apart. So that's just going to be a surprise, probably for next year, not this year. And the other one is a surprise as well. So I don't feel as rushed to do those, but I really do want to get them done by next year, because I don't want them to just keep hanging over my head. They're barely started though, so I'd really have to get into them. We'll have to see at least one of them by next year for sure. Anyway, the other thing that, so I never finished my thoughts. So it surprised me because the colors were really blocky, and I was like, I don't know, this looks really weird because you're stitching it really close to your face. Sorry, my arm is itchy. But like, for example, that and that and that over here, especially the pants here, and it really works out nicely. I mean, it's very basic shading, but it really works. I mean, you can see what it's trying to accomplish, you know, like some lighting. The other part that surprised me was down here. This one looks real nice. You can see the shadow here. Like, that's an interesting detail they didn't have to include. And they did, and I really like the difference it makes. Also, the green, when I was stitching this real close to me, it kind of looked like the letters were going to get lost, you know, that the greens were too close. But, you know, once I look at it from far away, camera or no camera, you can really obviously easily see what it says. So I was surprised about that as well. I was getting kind of nervous when I first started stitching it. Maybe it wasn't because it wasn't completely surrounded by the green. Maybe it was because it was partially surrounded. So I was like, this doesn't look right. I feel like they're not going to be able to read it. Like, what's the point of even having the letters? But no, it definitely looks pretty good. So I'm really excited to have this done. I look forward to sending it off today. I'm giving it to my mother-in-law, who's going to see one of the aunts, who is then going to take it to the aunt that is going to finish it. This is for a cousin that lives in the northern part of Florida. I live in the southern part of Florida. So yeah, that way I don't have to mail it. And I should be starting the kit for my upcoming baby girl. It is a needlepoint kit, so I'm a little nervous about that, but the design was just too cute to pass up. So I think it'll be fine. Anyway, that's my stocking. I'm glad it's done. First finish in ages. Talk to you later, guys. Bye. So that was my large finish of the last bit of time, even though I didn't have a ton left. When I picked it up again, it was maybe late September or October, or like early October. So I had about a little less than 2/3 complete when I picked it up at that time. And it was like pretty much all of the top part up to where the Santa is, and I had to do the clothesline down, which looks like about half, but there's a lot less stitching involved in the bottom half, except for the toe. As you saw, that was a lot of green. But yeah, I'm glad that is done. I still have 3 stockings on the go. One, of course, is for baby girl Isabella. It is a needlepoint kit though, and there's no fancy needlepoint stitches. It's literally like the continental stitch, which is basically a tent stitch. So that's going pretty quickly because the blocks of colors are large. I don't have it with me today, but I'll have to show that to you in a future video. I basically just got it started. I went to my LNS and had some of the ladies that had done needlepoint before show me, just to make sure I was doing it correctly. And I am glad I waited for their advice, because they did have some tips to share with me. It wasn't, you know, like, it was really good. And I basically just got that started, but I probably will not go back to it for a little bit, because it will be for next Christmas. Baby girl won't even be here, unless she's very, very, very early, but I hope not, and I don't think so. Yeah, even if she came as a surprise that early and we had to, you know, spend time making sure she grows healthily, it wouldn't be enough time. You're okay. You're fine. It's okay. So, do you want to come up? Do you want to come up, Sammy? Come on. No? You want to come up? Is that what you want to do? Oh! There she is. This is Sammy. Ellie likes to come up sometimes, so she's a little bigger, so she can't always come up. Okay. So she's just going to be on my lap. So you might see a tail and head pop up here and there. So she will have her stocking for next year for her first Christmas. I do have 2 other surprise stockings that I'm doing. I definitely want to get one of those done by next year as well, and I think I can as long as I focus on it. And the third one, who knows, maybe, maybe not. Stockings are very large, but I think it'll be fine. I hope you don't mind dog face. I don't think you guys do though. So yeah, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Yeah, that's really been everything I worked on. The other project that I did is I really organized my stitchy stuff. So on this side, you can see my main crafting bookshelf. I have some like hobby books and school books up there, mostly non-stitchy books up there. Drawing books. Oh, she's gonna go behind me. She likes sitting, you know, behind me. So stitchy books, non-stitchy books, some crochet books, some cupcake books, and like baking books, drawing and coloring, and some school books. There's like a cake pop book over there. And then on this side, I've got some cones of floss. I've got 2 large cones of floss, a black and a purple Ashley DMC 550, which I want to use on a Long Dong Samplers one day when I start that. And then at the very end is a couple bags from different LNSs I visited. One has a piece of fabric, 2 pieces of fabric, and the other one has a chart, so really I could move that, but I hadn't. Then over here I've got my threads, my beads, and then my Mosil silk. Then here I've got, and I have a more specific clip. I'll insert that probably because it talks about the next thing I'm going to show, and it shows it a little bit closer. But I've got stitchy books, then, sorry, I got to do it the other way. And then stitchy magazines and some recorder books because I got really into playing the recorder for a while, and now I'm going to go into it again. I mentioned in the clip that the music teacher at my school was like, oh, we should do a duet sometimes for the kids, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And now like I'm totally going to be part of the concert for Christmas time, I think winter time, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So actually got the music I'm going to be playing today, started practicing that, which is one of the reasons I'm so winded. I mean, aside from being pregnant and having to come upstairs all the time because we have a 2-story townhome, I was practicing and I was like getting real winded, and I'm like, okay, I guess I can't practice that right now anymore. So that has been fun. But yeah, anyway, I have recorder books in there, and then at the very end in the brown one I have all my Mira Nora Corbett patterns, and then a book. Oh, I'll share that with you. I have, I'm pointing there, there's a black photo album there that I'm actually using to store some stitchy finishes, so I'll show you that because I'm really excited about that. At the bottom I've got some of my other crafting stuff, like one of these boxes holds brushes, paint brushes for oils and acrylics. One of them holds sketching things, so different micron pens and different, you know, lead pencils, so soft leads, hard leads, etc., and some erasers. I've got a box for my specialty threads, which consist of like maybe, I don't know, like 3 weeks dye works and like 5 gentle arts. That's about it. That blue box, if you can tell what it is Critics. And then I've just got a hodgepodge of stuff that's a little bit messy, and further down you can't really see it, but I have some yarns for my crocheting, even though I've crocheted all of 2 projects and knit all of 1. But hey, gotta start somewhere, right? So let me flip you that way. So that's my desk. I've got stuff on the top, pens mostly because I love pens, and all sorts of crafty supplies. If you can see there, those are floss boxes for projects. So I've got flosses and beads in there for my mermaids that I started in May. For, oh my gosh, I forgot what I called it. Mirabilia, Mermaid Mania Madness, something like that. Yeah. So I worked on like 5 different mermaids during Mania. I also have a Heaven and Earth completely kitted up in there. What else do I have? The very top I have a couple project bags and some empty floss boxes, and then more pens up here and like pencils and stuff. The back is magnetic, so I can, you know, tack on my 5 needle minders. As I mentioned, I think they're really awesome, but when it comes to stitchy budget, I have other things I'd rather buy than needle minders, but I do like them, so I have a few. I mean, they're useful. I do like them. I just don't hoard them because that's not my particular preference, but I love seeing some of yours, and I'm like, oh, I vicariously hoard them through you. Gotta go backwards. Scroll frame, not my quantum, but like one that I made with by combining a store-bought scroll frame and some rods and stapling fabric, and I followed a tutorial by Courtney ECR. I think every time I've mentioned it before, I have included the link below. If I remember it, I will include it. If not, if you type in Courtney ECR, you will find her amazing videos, as well as her tutorial on making your old scroll frame, especially if you're wanting to try it and can't get one of the more expensive frames. you can't see them, but at the bottom you can kind of see the edge of one. I have 2 plastic drawer sets. That one that I'm pointing to with my thumb holds all my fabrics and some smaller kits at the top, and the one that's hiding behind my chair holds hoops, Q-snap pieces, finishes. There's a drawer of shame in there, and just like different odds and ends that I use, like some beads and bling that I use. What is she chewing on now? What are you chewing on? Sorry about that. Just want to make sure she wasn't chewing on anything dangerous. And over there, you can see my wonderful organized whips. I did that a few days ago. I got these plastic folders from Amazon. I'll make sure to include the link down below. And I do have a clip in which I actually show my shelf a little bit closer and my whip, so I'm gonna go ahead and insert that here. Hey guys, so I did a thing. My thing was organizing my projects. Look at that. I have a lot of these, probably about 3/4 of them already in the these things, these vinyl envelopes. I got these off of Amazon, if I remember, which hopefully I will, but if I don't, just comment and remind me. I'll put the link to them down below. You have 2 options. I get the pastels, even though some of them are a little bit brighter, but that's okay. And they have some really, you know, richer colors, like a, you know, blue, a red, a purple, a yellow, like a bright yellow, an orange, and I think the clear also. You might also be able to get them entirely in clear. I don't remember seeing like the particular listing like I have them all in clear, but I'm sure that's an option. So most of my projects are in that. It's pretty much the pattern. I'm sorry, you're totally seeing some pattern there, but I mean, I don't think you can figure it out. So yeah, so it's like awesome because I can really count them. Now this isn't the final thing, this is just a table. I have your pardon the mess down there. The idea is to get a bookshelf here, and you know, use the space for some books that we need space for, as well as like a section for my whips and stuff. So yeah, the only one that isn't, I have this one and another one that's also in one of these. This is what I used to use before, either the quart or the gallon. But I only keep those 2 because I tend to travel with them. Other than that, they're in these pouches, and I have one in my one project bag that I got from Trisha 3 Owl Threads. That's a lie. I have another project bag that I got from Garen Toten Bags, and I usually take one of my stitchy projects for the Stitch Night and my LNS in that. But yeah, most of them are in here now. So ideally this middle bookshelf is going to be where I'm going to have them, and I'm going to have a big space. So it's not going to be like a bookshelf where I try to fit as many shelves as possible. It's just going to be like, I want to be able to do this. Like if I put it in the bookshelf that I have now, even though I have a big space, like it'll come to like here. So it's still hard to have to like take it out or something. Yeah, so originally I was going to get the extension to my corner desk. But we figured with the bookshelf, I don't really need more desk space. I just wanted it to like be able to lay stuff flat on. And that way I can have that horizontal space, and I can have some shelves above and below for storage as well. Other than that, I also, sorry, I hope I didn't make you sick there, organized like any threads I have in boxes. So I have my mermaid. Pretty much they're all mermaids except for my Phantom of the Opera, Heaven and Earth that I haven't gotten to, and a little mini one that has some threads for my mini Heaven and Earth that is black and white, well obviously grays, and the Stitch Rovia Quotes to Live By main colors, even though I'm switching most of those out, but I like having the called for colors there in case I do want to use them or get an idea of like the shade difference. So yeah, I have those organized. I put stickers on them as well so I know what they are. I can tell if I look on top because I have a picture of the finished piece, but since I store them like this, I'm like, okay, well, especially the mermaid ones, like I was always flipping through. This one I knew was Phantom, but I'm like, I might as well. I also organized this up here, so I've got my Mo Sale silks, which I need to bag some up. I use, I guess, the idea of a floss away bag, but it's not actually a floss away bag. It's just like a baggie I got at the craft store. My beads and my thread. So I have my DMC full set up here, and here I have variegated, which includes most sale, jottery, most sales cotton, jottery, and the the DMC. So the variated, the variegated, and the colorist, and then the DMC satins and light effects. And I guess that one has a lot of space on the bottom, so I could fit more stuff. Here I've got like cross stitch books, some bigger kits. That was sorry about my finger there. That bag there is some patterns that my family from Colombia sent me, so I'll have to kind of show you at least the magazines and give you an idea. So I've got the cross stitch books. I got a little notebook that I've been writing some stitchy stuff in, not a lot, just stuff that I want or apologize, things I'm trying to keep track of. A little box of floss that I got on sale. They're the Krennic Silk Moris, and there was just a good deal on eBay. I wanted to try them, which I still haven't done. I've actually got some recorder books here. I don't know if you guys remember the recorder, but yeah, basically that little flute there. We learned how to play it in elementary school here in the States, 4th and 5th grade. And I got really into it for a while, and then I kind of didn't get to it. Like, I haven't learned any of the songs from the Star Wars books. I'm still like practicing from some recorder books. I used to have a packet that was my very first recorder like compilation of songs. I'm really sad I can't find it because it was awesome. I know I'm deviating, but I wanted to let you know. And this pink one was my main one for elementary school. Etsueda recorder materials, blah blah blah. This is volume 1, and then later in life I decided to go on Amazon and find myself volume 2, which is blue. And then this is the one I used in college, my recorder book. Yes, because I was an education major. I am an education major. We did have to take like classes for music and art and PE as well, which were pretty fun. But some of them were actually tough. Like, I remember that PE class, we had to do a lot for that class. Yeah, so ideally, like, they just want you to be aware of what the students are going through on a day-to-day basis, and like you could also incorporate it. The reason I decided to pull them out is because I am teaching elementary school this year, and may consider staying in elementary school. I mean, I'm definitely going to be there for at least a few years. I already tried middle school. Wasn't really my favorite. Enjoyed the math, but it's hard working with those kids with those hormones and growing and changing, and I don't think I'm the personality type that works best with middle school, so I really wanted to try elementary. I think I'm the type of person that will work either well with younger children or adults. So one of the things I'd like to also do eventually is maybe try a part-time college position and see how that goes. I haven't looked into that yet because I just started elementary school. I'm learning the challenges that come with it, and my weakness is working on strengthening them, and really working hard at the things I am good at and making them even better. Anyway, so my kids are learning recorder after winter break, so I thought I'd at least go through like some of the first songs in the recorder practice books, and then maybe try and pick one of the other ones and just kind of do it with them and show them it's something that can follow you later in life. Even though I'm not like a musician, it's nice to have that, to go back to. And I know the music teacher was really excited when I told her. I'm like, yeah, I still have my recorder. I have some songbooks. And she's like, yeah, we'll do a little song together or something. So I like to practice that, because it's been a while. But obviously I got really into it. I got like a Disney one. I got, what is this? Another Disney one. I think I got a Wizard of Oz. I have a Star Wars in here. I have a Disney Princess one. And then I have some like more advanced ones, which I thought was really cool. There's a Bach one. And I could have sworn I got another like musician one. I have a Glee one. I never got that much into Glee, but I definitely enjoyed listening to some of the music. Gosh, I feel like I had another one. Maybe it was this one all along, because there's a particular song I wanted to learn. but I don't see it on here. Get the feeling. Alright, Gavotte. I think the Gavotte is interesting. And Musette or Musette. Gosh, I feel like I bought another one in order, sorry, a musician one. I'll have to look and see. And then in this one anyway, I have anything that's like a cross stitch magazine and just some patterns that are in like these little packets. Here I've got my Mira's / Nora Corbett patterns and just a little freebie from my LNS. And this is where I'm doing my Santas, my Mill Hill Santas. I've only got one in there, but I do have 3 finished, so I need to update that and show you. So yeah, so right now, up there are just other books. I have some of my school books and some other my other hobby books. Like there's crochet books up there, there's drawing / color pencil theory books up there, and some baking. You see the cake pops, there's like a cupcake one somewhere in there, and some coloring books. That has nail stamping plates. I don't know if you ever heard of Conad. They also have a few competitors that have some really nice ones. I haven't used those in a long time. I have this random like kit that like you do a little design with. And there I've got some flosses and 2 cones of floss. I have a black cone of DMC and a cone of 550, which is a beautiful purple type shade that I'm going to use for a long dog sampler. I've got a Thomas Kincaid book. I've got my other project back in there that currently doesn't have anything in it, but I use that to carry stuff to my Stitchy store. What else is in there? And I think I've got a fabric in there that I bought in an LNS that I haven't stored away anywhere else, but it's fine there. Yep. So that's it. Down here is like the messy bit, so ignore that. But hey, I've got brushes. I used to do oil painting. Haven't done that in a long time. Sharpies, because I'm obsessed with all the Sharpie colors. I always have to get the new pack, and I use them every once in a while, so there. An extra thing of colored pencils that sometimes I use for when I'm working on my patterns. That's going to be specialty floss. I have like 6 in there. It's very sad. But basically anything that's not a Most Silk, or, well, there would be more, but I have my water lilies already like with my mermaid kits, my Mirabilia kits. So yeah. Krynics are in there. I could probably move those up here maybe, but if not, I'll leave them out there. I think they're fine. Little kit that a co-worker from my previous school got me that I haven't gotten to. Some boxes for when I do some pattern. Those are the mini floss boxes. They're actually from the jewelry section, but they work perfectly for floss, and they look like a tiny, you know, box, like, oh, like one of those, but like in half, like that one that I have up there. That's the size. So I have a few more of those, and then my old beading box that I did not like because it kept falling apart. So I have some old beads. I used to do like jewelry making when I was like a little kid, but the beads are like seed beads, but they're very inconsistent in size. So I just have them there for like, if I want, I don't know, if I want to add a couple to a project that doesn't even call for anything. You know, if you add a few and you kind of search around, you can make it work. But I wouldn't use those for like, you know, like a nicer project because they're so inconsistent. That's my other travel. You can see it's kind of in a hoop there. That way I can just slide it out. I didn't want to put it in those bins because like it almost doesn't fit. And I don't know, like I don't grab it that much. You know, it's just when I'm traveling. And there's a pattern in there. I think I need to put it somewhere a little bit more organized. But this was just kind of like I hadn't gotten to the bottom 2 shelves yet. See exactly how I want to organize it. Then down here I have my yarn. And I know that looks really messy, but that's just because there's a bag there. I have some kits that I bought from Discounted and LNS. Ooh, you can see one of my cables there for my external hard drive. For some reason, it's very, very finicky. And even though it's just like a standard USB, USB 2, I don't know, it's one of the, not the newest USB that's available. But it looks basically like your, you know, standard plug-in, like it's got the big USB on one side and the little one on the other one. Not the one for Android, but for iPhone, but for everything else like Android or other devices that you plug into your computer. And even though there are other cables and usually I can interchange them, this particular hard drive, like if I don't use that one, my computer won't recognize it. So like I've got it separated because like with my husband being an IT professional and into technology, we've got like 20 of them, and they're mainly all black. I think there's a few white ones. There's like one gray one, and then like most of them are black. So I'm like, I have to keep it separate so I know that's the one that works with my external hard drive. It's also old as dust, so I need to probably get a new one eventually so it doesn't conk out on me. Anyway, down here, that's an empty one of like these. I don't know what I'm gonna put in there. My husband had something in there, and then he's like, hey, do you want this? I'm like, sure, I'll eventually find a use for it. So I've got yarn, 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 yarn. A Chinese painting kit that I got forever ago at Barnes & Nobles that I never used. Maybe one day I'll try that. That's like camera batteries. That's felt that I use sometimes on my Q-snaps, and that in there is something I got to make needle minders. I haven't really gone to that. Plastic baggies in case I need them for something. A frame that I'm going to use on a project. At one point you can see a hoop kind of hanging out down there. And in there are beads for 2 of my mermaids, and I haven't put them in my bead storage yet, which I probably should, but I like that they're separate because I know all the beads in there are for either Sunrise Laguna Mermaid or Bluebeard's Princess Mirabella. So anyway, so that's my crafty bookshelf right now. So I want to get another one of these and maybe do like a nice, like this is a pretty big open space, but it's still like those folders go up to like right here. So I would probably move this shelf up if I get the same exact one, but a 5-shelf bookshelf ideally. Move it up and then maybe slide smaller things, or maybe I can move my beads to that side. I don't know, something where I don't need a lot of vertical space. And then put the 2 whip buckets down here, but have enough space that I can literally just flip through if I wanted to, instead of having to pull it out, which is also an option. I'll have to try it and see if it works out. And then, so that'd probably be the middle shelf and this little shelf, and I'd probably use the top shelf and the bottom shelves for some book storage, unless I rearrange things a little different. But yeah, so I wanted to share my organization so far with you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye. All right, last but not least, I'm gonna show you this black photo album that I just pointed to, which was on that shelf right there. I've mentioned this before. Do you guys remember what I said I was gonna do with it? Give you a second there to think. If you said you were gonna make a photo album of Santa's travels, you would be correct. So I mentioned before I really like Mill Hill kits, and I enjoy a lot of them, but I was really drawn by the Santas and how there's a lot of them. Now there are a few Santas in the Mill Hill line that are not part of this particular set. You know what, I can look it up real quick. These particular ones are designed by a specific designer. Mill Hill does have, I'm sorry, I'm looking so... Okay, here we go. The designer is Sandra Cozzolino. She designs these Santas for Mill Hill, and there are currently 19 sets of 3 available. Now, if I remember correctly, these come out once a year, so that means for 19 years they've been coming out with sets, you know, of Santas, 3 a year. Unless at one point maybe multiple came out, and recently it's been 3 every year, but I think that's the case. When I started stitching them, there were only 51 out, and then, you know, the 2016 ones came out, and there were 54, and now the 2017 came out, but they come out around halfway through summer, because a lot of times the themed sets that Mill Hill puts out come out a few months before that holiday, if they are holiday themed, so that, you know, people can have them done and displaying for that holiday. So yeah, there are currently 57 of them, and I have completed... I started my 4th one. I said if I did 2 a month this year, I could, you know, have a decent amount done. That did not happen. Whatever. It'll work out. Anyway, so there are other Santas though in this series. There's some faces. There's a few different Santas that are part of other Mill Hill, like that are designed by other designers for Mill Hill, but these particular ones come in sets of 3s, and they're themed. So they have like the Southwest Santas, and you know, they look like they're dressed for the Southwest. They have the Celebration set, which has the traditional red suited Santa plus 2 others. They've got the Renaissance Santas, which were last year's. So there's like Florence, Geneva, and something else. There's this year's was the Islander Santas, something like that. So there's like Trinidad, Jamaica, and something else. So yeah, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if these were like the Santas that show up in different places? Now, not all of them are named after an area or a time period, like an era or an area, or after something, you know, but because there's like places, you know, like be like Tahiti Santa or Trinidad, but there's also one that's called like Bluebird Santa or something. So the series have varied a little bit, but basically it's Santa in all different suits and get-ups. A lot of times they've got some sort of animal companion. So I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if this would be like Santa showing up in different places for different children of different cultures and backgrounds, and this is how they see Santa? I mean, I know that's not really the case, but it'd be pretty cool. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to pretend that this is his photo album, and he's taken a picture everywhere he's gone in the world with for every child that he's visited, and he dresses in something that'll be familiar to that child so that the children in that area see Santa in something that's like commonplace for them and normal for them. So yeah, so this is his photo album of his travels. I did a kit called Santa's Boots. I don't remember what the line is called, and that is the cover of my album. So after all that talking, I'm finally going to show you what I'm doing. So this is my cover. It fit perfectly. I apologize for the glare, but it's got this nice plastic on it, and I thought it would keep it clean. But yeah, and I just wrote that. I probably could have centered it a little bit better, but it is what it is. It looks fine. And there are the boots. Only change I made is I used some metallic floss for the laces. It was just supposed to be like a DMC yellow, but you know, who else would have shiny gold shoelaces but Santa on his fancy boots? So there you go. I mean, he's got, what, pearl beads on there, so why not fancy, shiny, golden shoelaces? So that's his travels. I thought the boots would be a great representation, and ta-da! No, that's just the blank page. Alright, here's the first one. This is Merry Christmas Santa. I thought I would stitch him first because he's the traditional red suited Santa, and he is from the Celebration Santas line. So I left these blank because the other 2 Santas in this line will go there with him. One thing that you may not know if you're not aware of these Santas is that their beards are slightly different. I'm going to do all of them in this style. They are a pain in the behind, but they look really nice. There's this kind, there's one that's a little bit more circular loops, and there's a straight. So it's basically you make the loops, but then you cut them so it's like straight. But I thought, despite his suit changing over and over, I really doubt that his beard would change. I guess he could change the style of his beard, but I think it would look a little bit silly. So that is the only change I'm definitely going to make, is that if their beard isn't already loopy, then I will make it so. The first one I did, this one right here, had 6 loops. Depending on the orientation of Santa, like notice how he's sideways. Some of them are straight on, and some of them are completely like halfway, not 3/4 turned. They might have less loops because of the way the picture was taken. I might follow that. I'll just have to try and see how it looks. But I just think it's weird. Like, some of them have really long beards, some of them have really short beards. I guess technically Santa could restyle his beard, but I thought I'd want something uniform since he's already changing outfits. So I'll probably do the beards the same way. So the next one, actually that was the second one I did. The first one I did, but I didn't want it to be the very first one in the album because that's not his traditional suit, is Whale Santa from the Celtic Santa line. So there's him. So his buddies will go there, or him in other areas. I think it's Ireland, and I forget the third one, I'm sorry. It's Wales, Ireland. I have it written down. Now I want to look because I forgot what it's called and I don't want to forget. Leave that alone. I don't want you picking that up. Leave it alone. Scotland. So Ireland and Scotland are left over in the celebration Santa sits Merry Christmas Santa, Feliz Navidad Santa, and Joyeux Noel. Apologize, I don't know any French. Okay, so the official last part of my video is me showing you some of my stash. It's basically going to be all the Mill Hill Santas that I own. I have to restrain myself from buying them because I want to keep getting them. You know, just having them is a lot of fun. If I see like a really good deal I won't, you know, that I just can't pass up, I'll buy one. But if not, I really don't mind holding off because like I said, there are 57 of them. Next year there will be 60 of them. So I don't need to own all of them at once because, yeah, no way. So maybe I can reward myself and maybe when I finish a set I can buy the next one. I don't know. So yeah, so I did start with the, even though it wasn't the very first one I stitched because it wasn't the very first one I owned, but the first set I'd like to complete is the Celebration Santas because it includes the traditional red suited Santa, which is the image of Santa we, you know and love, if that's something that you celebrate or look to. So as you've seen in the album, I've got Merry Christmas Santa complete. In that line, there's also Feliz Navidad Santa. Love him. He's my favorite of the series because of all that he's got going on. And I do apologize that there is glare here, but there's just too much going on in these packs for me to take it out right now. And there's also, and again, pardon my butchering of the French, Joyeux Noel Santa. So I've got that entire set. I do have the most recent Santas. These were the 2017 ones and they were the Caribbean Santas. I started stitching Trinidad Santa mostly because he's got a parrot and I had to, you know. So there he is. And see, this is what I mean. He's got like a straight cut beard and it's like sideways. Of course, it probably won't stay sideways. It's, you know, I guess he's supposed to be standing in the wind, but I'm just going to do the loops because I think I want them all to match. Obviously, there's no floss in here right now because it's in my whip pouch. And I have like a full thing in there with like a pencil for my chart and scissors because I like to take that one sometimes traveling. So in that same set, you've also got Barbados Santa. And you've got Jamaica Santa. So this is an example of like a set where they actually have names after the place, you know. So I love it. I love it. Like, can you imagine some little Jamaican child seeing Santa looking like this? I think that'd be so cool. That's why I want to do my photo album. Anyway, moving on. I mentioned I started the Celtic Santas. I think these were the 2015 ones, if I'm not mistaken, and then after that I don't know the order. So as you saw, I stitched Wales Santa. So in that one you've also got Ireland Santa, and I believe Nell somewhat recently finished this. That's Little Yellow House Crafts. She's really fun. You gotta go watch her. And Scotland Santa. And in the Tropical Santa lines, which I've also started, as you saw, I stitched Tahiti Santa, but you've also got Christmas Island Santa. And you've got Hawaii Santa. And those are quite a lot of fun. Last year's were the Renaissance Santas, and that is Florida Santa. He's probably my favorite of that bunch. Venice Santa, which for some reason just makes me think of like Leonardo da Vinci or something. Just because of the way he's dressed, I guess, even though the Florence Santa does have a painting in his hand, so. But I don't know what it is about him. I think it's a movie that depicted Da Vinci wearing something similar that I was just like, oh, okay. And last but not least, Genoa, not Geneva. Genoa Santa. I've got a Mountaineer Santa. This is Mount McKinley Santa. I don't have the whole set of this. I think I just found this on eBay for a really good deal, so I couldn't pass it up. I've got Southwest Santa, and I just have him, Desert Santa. So that's another one I don't have the entire set of. I think it was, gosh, a few years ago, I was doing a 1, 2, 3 stitch order. Even though I'm not doing those as much because I'm trying to support my LNS and buy as much as possible from there. But, you know, every once in a while you see a deal or something, but I really do try to do that. Or support other LNSs, like if I'm traveling or whatever. But anyways, I had a 1, 2, 3 stitch order, and we never ordered just one thing, so I put him in the cart because he happened to be on sale that week. But I do like, there's also Canyon Santa and Mesa Santa. I really like this set a lot. Some of my other favorites are the Colonial Santas and the Seafair Santas, pardon my reach here. The other full set I have is the Medieval Santas. I've got Sac City Santa. And this was actually somebody that wanted to trade with me, and I felt so terrible because it was around the time that we were trying and we lost baby and everything, and I just never got the trade out on time. And I let her know, and I said, hey, you know, do you still want him? And I'm like, no, I already purchased that one. I'm like, well, if there's any other Santa you want, please let me know. And I felt so terrible about that. I've been paying it forward and, you know, just gifting everyone I finish. So yeah, if you've noticed, I mentioned I finished one of them recently, so hint hint. Yeah, but I felt really bad about that. She was really sweet about it. So yeah, I'm just, anytime I finish one of those, I will send you the pattern. I'll include a brand new piece of perforated paper, my leftover thread, and sometimes my leftover beads. It depends. If there's not a lot of beads left over, I won't include them because you're gonna have to buy them anyway. But if there's a significant amount of beads left, I'll include them as well. So like, don't think I'm trying to dupe you or anything, but just sometimes there was almost exact, and sometimes there's like tons of beads left over. Who knows? Maybe it's whoever was packaging it that day, even though it probably is automatic. But anyway, I never finished that. So I showed you Sac City Santa. There's also Avignon Santa. And I apologize, I'm super like allergy ridden. And Canterbury Santa. And of course, this one drew my attention because I remember really enjoying reading the Canterbury Tales my senior English class of high school. Last but not least with those, there are some Santas that are made by Jim Shore. I believe there are 9 of them. I don't know if he's come out with any more. I know there were originally 6, and then he came out with 3 more. And I want to finish these a little bit differently. That won't be included in the album. I don't know when I'll get to them. They're a little bit more similar. They all kind of have the red and green going on, but they have different things. And I think I'd like to do a wall hanging and stitch these on fabric. But I do have 3 of them. I have Cozy Christmas Santa, which was a gift from my coworker at one of my old school, at one of my only old school really. She was great. She was really thoughtful and went to the LNS, which happened to be close to my old school, and she got me a couple kits for Christmas. So that was really sweet of her. She picked this one up. And I have 2 others. I have Greeting Santa and Early Morning Santa. So there's one more in this purple set, and I think the other 5 have this red background. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm not sure if they came out together or not. because I think these came out as a set of 6 and then he brought these out, but they kind of go like they match. So even if he came out with others, I mean 9 is enough for what I want to do. I mean, maybe if he came out with 3 more I would consider doing 12, but after that the wall hanging would get pretty huge. I just thought that'd be something fun to have out at Christmas times. Who knows when Christmas time that will be, but some point at Christmas time. Yeah, so that is my stash of Santas. Okay, so if you stuck to this part of the video, I have something to give away. This is Tropical Santa, Tahiti Santa. I mentioned I finished him. I did also finish Merry Christmas Santa, but I don't know where all his stuff is. I mean, I'd sent you even at least the chart, but I've got to find it. So for now, I will leave this guy on hold. If I find his stuff, I will send it. If not, then, well, there are 50 something Santas to come. But at least today I want to hold the giveaway for Tahiti Santa. I have included in here will be the chart, of course. It's very lightly used. I think I very lightly shaded in pencil and then I erased it all. Everything should be still legible. I included a brand new piece of perforated paper as well as my leftover threads and beads. I don't know if I mentioned this before. I'm pretty sure I did. Sometimes they will have beads and sometimes they won't. It just depends on how many were included. I don't know if it's the person who sets the packaging up that day or what, but sometimes there's like plenty of beads and sometimes So this one does, so I just included them in there. I'm pretty sure I included a needle in there. Yeah, the needles are in there as well. You may have your own needles that you prefer, but there is a regular stitching needle, I believe it's just a size 24, and a beading needle, which is the one that comes standard in all the Mill Hill kits. So yeah, so this is again designed by, oh shoot, I can't remember her name now. Great. Casalino. Suzanne Casalino. Anyway, from the Tropical Santa line, Tahiti Santa. In order to win him, please don't say giveaway. We want to avoid any trolls or clickbait or anything. Just in your comment below, please let me know a fishing memory that you have. Maybe your first experience fishing or a really cool fishing memory. Or you can tell me I've never got fishing but I'd love to. Or I'm just not interested in fishing. That's fine too. And I guess because, you know, he's holding a fish, why not? I have gone fishing very little. My first memory of really fishing was actually with my husband. We were camping. It was a campground nearby. It's like 15 minutes from our house. His mom really wanted to go camping that year, but she didn't have the ability to go anywhere far. So she's like, let's just go to this campground here and camp for the weekend. It was like a 3-day weekend, and then we're like, sure. I mean, it was camping. It was still camping. We were in a tent and everything. But, I mean, we were like 10 minutes away from, like, no, maybe not 10 minutes away from their house. So like 15 minutes away from my house, maybe 20 something minutes away from their house, and like 5 seconds from a Walgreens, like maybe 5 minutes. But you know, so it was really easy because some of the campgrounds that we've stayed in, I had not gone camping previous to this. I've only been camping with, you know, my husband since we've been married, and we've been to some campgrounds where it does take some time to get to a store, which is why a lot of campgrounds have their own little general store. This was just a local part that does offer campgrounds. But it was still a fun experience, and he showed me how to fish. I borrowed a rod from him, one of the old ones he had, or maybe it was like a Walmart one we picked up, and I caught a little fish. It was like that big, but it was fun. It's not my favorite because I feel like you're just sitting there a lot. Sorry if you're a really big fisher. It's just not my thing. And also just touching the fish is not my favorite experience. It's okay, but it's not like, I don't look forward to holding like a fish and getting all smelly. Not my thing. But it was still a fun experience, and I've done it a couple times since then, but not something I particularly like doing. But every once in a while my husband asks me, I'll go ahead and fish with him and It's been like 2 or 3 times. But yeah, so share in your comment your fishing experience, memory. You can tell me you've got no interest in fishing, whatever it is. Again, please be 18 or over so I can send you something. You can tell me your address and I can send you something. Or if not, I don't want to discourage any younger stitchers. I do need your parents' permission. I do think most of us here though are 18 or over, so that does help out a lot. But yeah, so I will give you till December 6th. That's about 3 weeks. Hopefully that's enough time for quite a few of you to enter and hopefully enjoy this little guy, and hopefully soon I can give away this guy as well when I find his stuff, if I find his stuff. Again, if not, I've got plenty. They will eventually get out to you, and then maybe eventually I'll just pick another one of these guys up and send it off to somebody. Yeah, so that does wrap up my video. Sorry that I'm like all old now, but it's getting pretty late, and I'm getting a little bit tired. But I'm excited that I finally recorded this. Oh, one thing I did want to mention, I do want to do a whip parade because I have all my lovely organized whips now. That will probably not be coming till winter break. I go on winter day break like a couple days before Christmas. But I don't go back into school till January 9th or 10th. So I do have that like after New Year's. I'll have quite a few days to do it. I apologize, I'm so stuffy. If I have the chance, I might do it over Thanksgiving break. We do have 5 days, but probably, you know, actual Thanksgiving Day will not happen. And I know at least one day we'll probably be doing something. But maybe I can fit it in. I mean, I do have, at the moment, 54 whips. I had 55, but then I finished my Calavera, which I showed earlier, so it's 54. Technically, I have some gifts to start for Christmas, but they're little ornaments, so I don't even know if like, I mean, it might jump up to like 60 because I'll have like 5 or 6 ornaments to do. They're like, again, really, really tiny that I'm gonna give away, and then it'll jump right back down to 54. So I may not even like, I mean, I'm not gonna make a pouch for them or anything, but I'll, if I happen to be working on them at the time, if I do it, you know, before Christmas, then I will include those. If not, you'll see those at finishes, either in a quick video clip or at least a picture. But I'll definitely do like my whip parade. So it might not come for still another month or so, but it is in the works. It's coming. Maybe I'll have more than the 54 whips by then. We'll see. There are definitely things I want to start, but looking through my whips, there's definitely things that I'm like, oh, you know, like I definitely want to stitch that. And I mean, that's a little bit old, but I just want to finish it. Like, I have a little bookmark I started, and honestly, like, there's no point in UFOing that. Like, it's pretty close to being done. I still think it's cute. It's very, very simple, but, like, why, you know, like, that could be a cute little finish, and then I'll be down to 53, so we'll see. I don't have a ton of those left, but I do like a lot of smalls, so, like, a lot of times I'll, like, have moments where I'm just doing smalls, little ornaments and stuff, and just moving. I have a lot of Christmas ornaments that are just sitting there that I do eventually want to stitch, so we'll see. But anyway, thank you for sticking around with me in my super scatterbrained video. I mean, I know that's technically just me, but let's just say I'm going to blame it on pregnancy and pregnancy brain and being tired, even though it's not that late. I look forward to talking to you guys again, and I appreciate you guys for subscribing and staying subscribed and still commenting and following me on Instagram and Stitchmania and all of that. And for those of you who have checked up on me from when I mentioned, you know, having the miscarriage before, or that if you've heard about the pregnancy through either Instagram or Stitchmania, and you've, you know, shared well wishes and congratulations and all of that, I really very much appreciate it, and I look forward to speaking to you soon, even if it is through a vlog, which I'm hoping to start doing again, just to have some sort of video connection up on Flosstube every once in a while, at least once a month. Alright, I'll see you later, guys. Bye!